Good evening and welcome to the February 8th. It's our last goals and priorities here in the town of Penfield. So we're going to start with, we saved our best for last. We have our first up on the deck here is Miss Heidi Boehl, and she is our director of oh my gosh, building, and our fire marshal and zoning, code of compliance, historical. Am I missing? There's 5. That's it.
Told you, Bob.
Yeah, just a few things.
Just a few things.
Just a few.
So feel free to tell us about your goals probably for 2023,
Perfect.
Maybe some priorities. Thank you.
Perfect. So I want to start with the accomplishments and go right into the goals. I'll make it brief because I know, Andrew, the best for last. So on the building side, I'm very proud to say for the 4th year in a row, we've maintained no more than a 2-week turnaround for our permits, meaning that we're able to receive the permit and turn it around within 2 weeks. We completed town code changes with the assistance with Carrie Ivers, getting that updated for New York State Department of State. Building inspection fees, that was a huge undertaking that Carrie Ivers and Kathy Anderson took on. That, I believe, comes to you. I know some of it passed already.
Yes.
But that was a significant project to get that all updated in our database. On the zoning end of it, 59 zoning board applications for 2022 versus 63 in 21 and 43 in 20. So you can see that there's consistency there, that more zoning board applications are coming to the zoning board. Zoning fees were also updated. Andy Savagas has been working very hard with the zoning board resolutions as he gets caught up from the years past. And with the purchase of the desktop postcard printer, creating zoning board postcards has been significantly more efficient. So we were challenged with the copier, the stand-up copier. It was not working well for us, so it was very nice that we were able to get the money in the budget to have the postcard put right at Christine Shaw's desk, so she's not getting up and fighting with the paper on the copier. Fire marshal fees were also updated. We completed 160 annual safety inspections. In 22, we left 92 on the table, and in between 20 and 22, there were 70 that were failed pending follow-up inspections. This means that a lot of the times we're going to these businesses, they're failing their inspections for electrical cords, space heaters, their fire extinguishers that haven't been inspected. It's all like very, what I call routine stuff, but some of these people don't understand what that's all about. I know I sent you a lot of documentation. I hope you had a chance to look over that. But with the fire marshal end of it, we have been sending out a brochure, kind of giving them a heads up of what we're looking for, so that hopefully we don't have so many follow-up inspections we have to go to. Code enforcement side of it, Phil D'Alessandro and Shannon Barg have been able to bring several residents into compliance with their continued follow-up and into resolutions and been satisfied. I know Shannon's got a couple of the, she's got good compliments from the town courts. Her demeanor has been very advantageous to the customer and to the judges as we bring them into compliance. For concerns and complaints in 2022, 431 concerns and complaints were resolved. 89 of those were construction without permit. I don't know why. I don't know if there might be an education side that we can work with the residents, letting them know that a shed is required to have a permit, a chicken coop, stuff like that.
Is there any way things like that could be down like at Home Depot and Lowe's? Like
I wonder if they. Yeah, I wonder if they would.
Because they're not advertised down there like that, but maybe if they put a little note up there that be sure to get a permit just for your own.
See if there's something they can put up on the communication board.
Yeah.
I can look into that. And then we went in front of the town judges for 8 properties multiple times. So when we go in front of the judges, it's not necessarily a cut and dry that they're going to be in compliance that day. So there's a lot of times we have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So there's 8 properties that we went in front of the judge multiple times. Pro champs, we had some revenue come out of the pro champs, and we ended up with 52 properties that were registered versus 44 that were last year. So that's gone up. The historic board, this is a new board that has fallen under me. Shannon Barg took that over. Yep. They met when Jim Costello handed it over to her, he says, oh, it's not a busy board. It'll only be a few times a year. They met every month except October and December. So they had a total of 10 meetings. Shannon thanks Jim for everything that he told her. The first time in 5 years that the town of Penfield sponsored an informative historical event. It was the Historic Preservation Appreciation Day. Went over very well. She had a few speakers, and then she had a bunch of handouts that she had. And then the Clark House. We all know that the Clark House, she's been able to assist with reviewing some information and providing the board with whatever knowledge that she could for that, as she has a background in that through her schooling. On the goals side, so the goals for 2023, I want to make sure that we can continue to maintain the 2-week turnaround, application turnaround time. And I want to recover, there's some unpaid permit fees. I ran a report from January 2020 through December 2022, the past 3 years. And there's some unpaid permit fees that I want to collect some of that money from. I'm not sure if it's because the resident went ahead and did the project, or maybe they didn't and it needs to be withdrawn. I'm not quite sure, but there's some follow-up that needs to be done on that. And I just don't have the staffing to do that right now.
Sorry, I have a couple questions
Sure.
on that. Have the permits already been issued with respect to the,
Yes.
what is the statutory time limit within
Yep.
the permit issuance that you can collect unpaid fees?
So the permit is good for 1 year, and then they can renew it for an extra fee. But there's no tracking that we have to do that on a regular basis to figure out how long ago that was.
So if someone came up for renewal and you're going to say, Joe, you didn't pay the fee the first time, if you want to renew it, you're going to have to pay it twice?
We tend to sympathize a little bit more because again, it might come down to the education side of it, where they may not know that their permit needed a final inspection. They may not know that, they needed to pay the permit. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of giving benefit to the customer, but they may not know that the permit, because we make a phone call, so we tell them the permit's ready to be issued, come in and pay for it. I'm not sure where the lack of responsibility is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think from a resident's perspective, right? Where if the permit was issued a year ago,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that I didn't pay, or I thought I did, or I didn't know an additional fee was paid, and
Yeah.
then now you're coming and say, hey, you owe us from 2022.
Right.
I just don't.
Yes, and I have done that. So I have reached out to some of these people, and they're like, you're reaching out to me 3 years later?
I
What
think, yeah,
happened?
well, because you said you pulled a report from 2020, so I'm
Right.
a little concerned that we're going to be going back to residents for 3 years. And if it really is up to the town to collect the fee, and we didn't by error or not, but we issued the permit, I mean, I don't know. I know this
Yeah.
isn't really like a feedback
Yeah.
portion. I'm just saying,
But that's
to me, that
something-
sounds very
Maybe
odd.
we can look into that, offline, we can just discuss that, because you're right, I think that probably has to be looked at a little bit
Yep.
clearer, because especially if it's that far back.
Right.
And what was the reason that they
and that's
never?
the only
why
reason.
I'm not sure I understand why the permit would have been issued if they didn't pay for it.
I know,
Is that
that
right?
doesn't make sense.
So it wasn't, I apologize. So
Yeah.
the permit wasn't approved, so it wasn't issued.
Okay.
But yet, the permit is still sitting there unpaid, so they haven't come in to do it. So we're wondering if they've gone ahead and done the project
Oh, that's
without the permit. So yeah, they haven't received the permit yet. So we didn't give them the placard or the permit to have on their records. But we're wondering if they went ahead and did this already.
So Heidi, can I ask you, are those like the permits you would put in your window saying, I had work done?
Yes.
Right? And that you don't physically get that permit until you paid for it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's a little clearer, maybe?
But is it worth going after them
I
for that?
you
They
know,
just didn't-
I mean,
Doesn't seem worth
I
it.
don't, I am curious about this. I'm going to
Yeah,
have
sure.
to
Let's-
look into this a little bit
Yeah.
more,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
might have
Sure.
some follow-up, because if the placard was never received, but if the resident is under the impression that I did the inspection, nobody called me and I didn't have an issue, so I might be like, I'm good, I'm going to install my shed, and then we come back 3 years later and be like, you never picked it up and you never paid. It just kind of,
Yeah.
They might not even be living there. It's so long a time.
it's just, you know,
It
there's
might be
got to be
easier
like
to show you.
That's a good point.
Show you and explain it better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, we can do that. We'll put that as a question to
Sorry,
get some- get some
I
follow-up on
interrupted
it.
I
your
expect it.
groove. You expect it from,
I do.
what's my
That's
reputation
fine.
like?
No, that's what this is all about, asking questions. It
Yes,
really is.
absolutely. I'm good with it. Christine Shaw, she continues to maintain her notary certification. That's coming due, so I'll send a voucher in for that. Completing training affiliated with job duties and responsibilities, again, still on goals. Mental well-being, I can't stress enough, and I know Mr. Ockenden can probably relate a little bit more to the mental well-being of the code enforcement officers, even the clerks. You get an upset resident coming to the desk, they're the first line of defense, and we try not to take it personally. But when you have a couple residents that are very frustrated with, it could be the court system, with the 8 properties that were going in front of the judge multiple times, why is the process so slow? So the mental well-being, understanding that, you know, don't take it personal is important, I think, for my staff to understand, not to take it personal. There's times that I've gotten into upset situations where you try to just talk down, you monotone, you don't talk down to the person, but you know, there's some of us that have a little bit more experience on how to take care of diffusing a situation like that.
Right.
Where maybe not all the staff has the background that myself or Jeff David have. Clerks, mental well-being, zoning, as far as the goals to bring the resolutions current. Phil is helping right now to get some of those resolutions with Andy done. Not sure how much longer he'll be able to help Andy as we get into our busier time. We don't have a slow time, we have a slower time. The fire marshal side of it, when we had a full-time assistant fire marshal, we were able to inspect properties at least once, and we were able to get to the follow-ups. Right now with Jeff David, it seems like I have more administration duties to do recently, so I'm not able to get out as much as I had been when I first started. So we're significantly behind, as I have expressed, with our fire safety inspections. So as we look to the future, it'd be nice to have somebody full-time to just get that fire life safety inspections taken care of.
So Heidi, right now, it's just Jeff, David, and yourself that can do.
We all can do these fire inspections, fire life safety inspections, but Luke is more specifically plan review. He's really the building inspector. We're all qualified under our certification to do the fire safety inspections, but it just depends on,
The workload.
yeah.
Yep. Understood. Thank you.
And then starting in May, the best for last reminded me that the food truck inspections are going to start. So that's another task that the fire marshal will be taking on. We're going to continue to work through the list of fire safety inspections, and we're going to talk about offline recovering the unpaid fire life safety fees. We can talk more on that. And then a new thing that we had this in the works the past couple years, and we just haven't followed through with it. Crowd manager training, more specifically for the Independence Day celebration, understanding that, you know, Jeff and I are usually the ones that were there, you know, a past assistant fire marshal was there also a couple years ago, understanding how to control the crowd. The more people that you have that has that knowledge, I think the better off the event would go. Not that we've had any problems with the event. I
Right.
think it just would behoove us to do that.
So Heidi, would that be something you work with our new safety or security supervisor with Steve
I'm not
Campione?
quite sure. I gotta look into it.
Okay.
I'd have to look in to see where that, I think I sent it through the brochure. I'll have to look into it a
Okay.
little bit further. And then playground safety inspector. Andrew mentioned today when I was talking to him that apparently we do have a certified playground inspector from DPW?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
parts.
Just something that I saw online, and again, you know, to make sure that our playgrounds are safe, especially the more of them that are coming in. I wouldn't mind if, you know, I don't want to throw Jeff under the bus here, but I'm sure that Jeff wouldn't mind taking it along with me, or, you know, either one of us to take it to have more people available to do those playground inspections. Seeing that we have nine playgrounds within the town of Penfield. And code enforcement, again, mental well-being, and then the historic, again, new to our department. As far as the goals, Shannon would like to make sure that she continues to provide feedback and advice regarding the Clark House. She wants to make sure she remains involved with that. And then she's also looking to begin stages of the historical marker repair. So some of the markers are in need of repair.
Okay,
Great,
great.
thank you.
Good. Thanks, Heidi. Appreciate it. You're doing good because we have a,
Heidi, let me interrupt real quick. I know we're cutting into the best for
Yep.
last segment here. Just because of public interest in the project, but any update on permit issuance for the cell tower?
good.
In the Four Corners area?
I got a email late today on that. I didn't really.
Okay,
look
that's
into
fine. I know I'm
it too
putting you on
much.
the spot for it, but just curious as to where that is in the process, because a lot of residents asking that question,
Yeah.
so.
I can email you and let you know.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then secondly, I just want to kind of echo a little bit of what Heidi touched on is, the fire marshals, I see it firsthand, are the ones that have to deal with these homeowners and residents that have just experienced some kind of a significant loss, unfortunately. And they're the ones that take them through that next step, the rest of the process. And it's a tough spot to be in. You're dealing with people that just suffered some kind of a tragedy,
Right.
in their life. So I want to thank you and your staff for that, because I see it firsthand, and it's a tough job. And this last weekend, you were very busy because of the deep freeze, so
I was
I'm
gonna
sure you were on
mention that too.
guys were on the
Yeah, we
go.
She was
talked about that
working
on Monday
all
with
weekend.
department head.
A
Yeah,
lot of
back to
sprinkler
back.
systems breaking, and
Yeah.
so, thank
And
you.
the poor lady, there was a resident that caused some damage to her son's house. Very upset, but
You did a good
we
job
calmed
with
her down
her.
to let her know you didn't ruin the two nice vehicles that were in that garage, so everything's good.
And she was
wasn't hurt.
healthy, yeah.
Yep,
Good.
yep.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Heidi, appreciate it. So next up, thank you again, Heidi. Have a
Nothing
nice-
else?
No,
Ran so long that they couldn't ask more questions. You gotta take a note from you.
we got last, but bye Heidi, have a nice, and last but not least,
Yes.
our infamous
Thank you.
Andrew Urckfitz from the Park and Recs Department.
So, time abiding, I'll run through just some quick numbers from 2022 that
Sure.
the rec department's really proud of.
Okay.
We increased all enrollment numbers, our program offerings, senior lunches that we provided, everything was up. Granted, we had some COVID still remaining in 2022 and people leery, but very happy that everything's increasing. One of the key numbers that we look at is 89% of our offered programs ran. So I think that's just a testament to our recreation staff that we have. They do a wonderful job of evaluating, seeing what listening to the community. But, close to 90% of programs running and not canceling is just wonderful. So we're very thankful for that. Another big one is obviously our revenue. Last year, we just hit our revenue at $510,000, so we were happy to get right to that. This year, we went over that. We were at 112% of the budget at $667,000, and that's $71,000 over our budget. And looking forward into 2023, that was also without an aquatics program. In this past fall, we hired a recreation assistant to come in, and one of our goals, being that we haven't had aquatics in the last couple of years due to COVID and all those things, is to obviously expand those offerings. Because the recreation assistant that we hired is so familiar with our programs, he jumped in right away, and we were able to get swimming programs into our winter spring brochure. So starting at the end of January, so the last couple weeks, we already have aquatics programs running for this year. So it's a testament to the new staff and coming in and kind of just jumping in, no pun intended, with the pool. Also expanding, not just our aquatics programs, we continue to evaluate all programs based on our facility space, just to make sure what programs are happening at the facility, they're being utilized, they're not being, space wasters or anything like that. So another goal that we were looking at that came from our master plan is just continuing the process for our community center facility plan, diving a little bit deeper into, if and when anything ever happened, providing that information, getting good staff input. We continuously look at our programs, but if we had more space, if we had, whether it's renovated space or new space, what are some opportunities that we could, bring in some new programs? Unfortunately, because of how many programs we have at our facility, I'd say typically every season we're turning away instructors that are wanting to come in and offer new programs. It's a nice thing because we get to pick and choose and say, hey, would this program be successful? But a lot of the times, some programs that we'd like to offer, we just can't, unless they offer it at a separate facility. Certainly through COVID, having a Zoom option, we've expanded some more adult education programs because of that. So we're excited for that, but we're also looking for, we're busting at the seams currently with all of our programming, always looking to do more. And then lastly, also another master plan update. One of our goals is just to continue looking at our adult program offerings. We're very, very good at youth. We have a wonderful DEER program with our seniors. It's always kind of finding that ground of, where are we missing? What can we do better? We've done a lot more pop-up programs, free programs, so it's not like you got to come in for, a month worth of program. When you register, you can sign up for one night here, one night there. And obviously that's been very popular, but we're looking to always expand on that. One of the additions that we're having in 2023, and I saw that the position got posted today by HR, is our evening and weekend rec clerk. We're hoping to also have that clerk not only answer phone questions, be able to do registrations, lodge reservations, but also pickleball on the weekend, pickleball at night, open basketballs, things like that that we don't really have the staff at the facility for. That position might be able to offer those types of things. So again, expanding on more adult programming nights and weekends. So we're hoping once we get staff hired, again, it was posted today. If anybody's watching and you're interested in those positions, you can go on the town's website. But always looking to add more part-time staff to the rec department.
Nice.
That's
That's
it for Heidi right there.
How would any board, any questions or? Yeah. I know, I talk to Andrew all the time. You're doing some wonderful job over there, and I appreciate all that's goes on over there.
Tuesday sandwiches.
Tuesday-
I know
I
you've
didn't-
been
I missed
over.
it.
I recommend to everybody come on over. There's a special every week that sells out
I missed
days
it
before.
yesterday.
So
What was the
register
special?
early. The special was
Chili? Oh, it was chili? Did you look online?
yeah.
It was great.
And
It's
I think
great.
Chris Tanay posted it from the town's
Yes.
social media, so
He did.
just getting it more out there. I'm sure Pam and the rest of the crew in the kitchen appreciates the extra support. So
But
I know that we've done double, if not triple, the amount compared to last year for just our Tuesday lunches. So, and it's open to all ages, not just seniors on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And we're hoping for some snow in
March 10th.
March
yes.
10th, so we can do our sledding.
Yeah, we
Nice.
missed out this past February. Unfortunately, it was too cold, but definitely glad that we postponed it till March. We have had years in the past where we've had to cancel both dates.
I know.
Just is what it is. But
It is what it is, yeah.
yeah, hopefully Eric and the rest of the DPW crew aren't listening that we're praying for snow. But
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you, as always, thank you very much for all you do. Extend that,
Thank you all
please,
for your
back to your
support. Yeah.
staff. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Appreciate it.
And with that, I'm going to close our goals and priorities for this evening, and we'll take a short break and be back at 6:30 for our town board work session. Thank you.